This is Taven Galanakis, and he's being arrested for driving under the influence, even though he's stone cold sober. And now, Taven is suing the city of Newton, Iowa for violating his civil rights. Was the arrest legal? Will Taven win his lawsuit? And more importantly, what should you do if you find yourself in a similar situation to Taven's? It all started when the 19-year-old college football player was pulled over by Officer Winters for failure to dim his high beams.
Hi there.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good.
My name's Officer Winters with the Newton Police Department. The reason I pulled you over is because you have your bright lights on.
I have personally defended DUI cases that started with this exact same violation. While it really seems like a minor nitpicky thing, it is a legit traffic stop for Officer Winters to make. Unfortunately, Taven has messed up.
The reason I pulled you over is because you have your bright lights on.
Yeah, I have a headlight out, so I just keep my brights on.
Okay, well that's not legal.
Yeah, I turn them when a car comes by, I turn them off, but like...
Well, you didn't with me.
You were a while back.
It has to be within 500 feet.
If you watch this channel at all, you know what Taven is doing wrong. He's talking to the police. And not only that, but he admits to the high beam violation, and then he proceeds to argue with Officer Winters about it. Officer Winters then asks for Taven's required documents.
You got your license, registration, insurance with you?
Yeah, I got you.
And while Taven is looking for those documents in his vehicle, Officer Winters is actually beginning his sobriety investigation by dividing Taven's attention with questions about where he's going, where he's been, etc.
Is this your car?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you headed?
Back home.
Where's home?
It's right down 715 South 2nd Avenue West.
Okay. Where are you coming from?
Friend's house.
Anything to drink over there?
Taven may not realize it, but he's already being tested for driving under the influence. Winters is making the guess that at late at night, this young guy driving around by himself may have had something to drink or done some drugs. I hate to break it to you, but Officer Winters is profiling. Most law enforcement officers wouldn't use that word for it, and they may not even admit that they're doing it, but it happens all the time, and there's really no law against what Officer Winters is doing here. Taven's problem is that he can't find his documents quickly. Cops routinely claim that struggling to find your license, registration, or insurance when requested lawfully by a police officer is a sign that you may be under the influence. It's not the only clue, but it's one thing that they can recite to the magistrate or to the judge as a basis for why they're investigating you for being under the influence. To solve this problem, you should have all your documents ready to go, and only the most current ones in a handy envelope in your glove box. At this point, Officer Winters has Taven exit his vehicle and come have a seat in Winters' cruiser. This is not a routine traffic stop at this point, but it's not illegal. Officer Winters can demand that Taven exit the vehicle, and Officer Winters can ask Taven to come have a seat in the cruiser. Notably, Officer Winters doesn't have to read Taven his Miranda rights at this point, since voluntarily sitting in the police cruiser isn't considered police custody. This is still just a temporary traffic stop. But either way, Taven still has the right to remain silent.
Where are you coming from?
It's a friend's house.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
None.
Yet Taven continues to talk to Officer Winters.
And so does the odor of alcohol coming from your person.
Great, let's do a testing.
What should you do at this point if you're in this situation? Shut up. If Taven stops talking at this point and refuses Winters' tests, Winters likely does not have sufficient probable cause to justify an arrest for driving under the influence. Winters simply suspects alcohol, but he doesn't have enough clues that he can point to indicate that it's likely that Taven is under the influence of anything. If Taven provided no further evidence, no further words or tests, an arrest at this point would likely be thrown out in court. But our natural inclination is to try to prove our innocence, and that's precisely the route Taven is taking.
Great, let's do a testing.
Okay. I'm gonna check your eyes. Cool. Follow my finger with your eyes and your eyes only, and do not move your head, okay?
This is called the HGN, and it's checking for an involuntary bounce of the eye that allegedly indicates impairment. However, there are many other reasons why you could have an involuntary bounce of your eye. This test is garbage, and you should always say no to this test or simply refuse to do it. Close your eyes. Taven, unfortunately, thinks he does just fine on the HGN, so he continues to do the next test, which is called the 9-step walk and turn. This test has a standard set of clues that law enforcement officers are supposed to be looking for. According to the science behind the test, 2 or more clues on this 9-step walk and turn indicates that the suspect is likely under the influence. Taven is supposed to take 9 steps out and 9 steps back, doing a turn in the prescribed manner. But he steps off the line and makes an improper turn and takes the wrong number of steps out and back. To normal people like you and me, it looks like he actually did pretty well. But to a cop or prosecutor, they're going to point to 3 clues of impairment that Taven exhibited during this scientific test they administered. Of course, as a defense attorney, I'd argue that he did pretty great. I've certainly seen way worse on DUI videos. Officer Winters actually tells Taven that he made some mistakes on both tests thus far, which is more than many officers do.
How many steps did I say to take?
Like 8 or 9?
I said 9. Why'd you take 14 and then 15?
I thought you were going to tell me when to turn.
I said to count your steps out loud.
A lot of times they'll say, okay, good, great job, let's go on to the next test, and lead you to believe that you're actually passing the tests when you're likely not. But Taven does continue with tests for Officer Winters. Remember, he's trying to prove his innocence at this point. He does the one-leg stand, the modified Romberg, the finger to nose, and even a preliminary breath test.
So I'm going to read you Miranda. Right now you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
After Taven blows triple zeros on the preliminary breath test, Officer Winters continues with his next line of inquiry.
When's the last time you smoked weed?
I do not remember that.
No! Officer Winters just finished telling Taven that he has the right to remain silent, yet Taven continues to talk. The long pregnant pause after the weed question is one additional factor that Winters can use to justify his arrest for Taven.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
If you're shocked by this encounter, you should know that this is 100% normal. Officers routinely rely on minute mistakes that to you and me look very normal, however they're considered to be clues that you're impaired or under the influence. Why? What does it gain Officer Winters to arrest a suspect for an offense when they ultimately have to later cut him loose or he might win at trial? Sadly, officers sometimes compete to have the most arrests in order to win awards and pad their resume. For example, MAD presents an award to law enforcement officers all around the country simply based on their arrests for DUI, not their convictions. Later at the police station, there's a shocking announcement by the drug recognition expert.
All right, bottom line up front. We're going home tonight. I have no evidence or no information to suggest that you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
So does that mean Taven is going to win his lawsuit against the city and the police department? No. I frankly don't think the lawsuit has much of a chance of success, since Officer Winters had a number of clues that he could point to justify an arrest of Taven. However, we should talk about the deeper issue here. I don't think officers should ask themselves, can I arrest this person? They should really be asking, should I arrest this person? I think Officer Winters likely stretched too far, and this is a case where he probably should not have arrested Taven. Now, if he was a little on the fence and maybe thought maybe this guy's under the influence, but I can't quite prove it or I'm not quite sure, maybe he could have asked if Taven had somebody to call to pick him up, get him off the road for a little while to ease Officer Winters' concerns. If you're ever in this situation, you'll know how to do better. You won't incriminate yourself because you'll know to refuse all the physical tests that the officer is asking on the side of the road. You'll be better prepared to defend yourself against police lies by checking out this next video, and you won't incriminate yourself verbally because you heard it here. Don't talk to the police.